In today's video, we're going to be going over some underrated, affordable fragrances that, in my opinion, are also pretty significantly underpriced, especially when you compare them to a lot of other scents out there that are a lot more expensive that maybe don't offer as much as these do in some instances. So this is a situation where we're not feeling like we overpaid for these like we might with some other scents out there. There have been plenty of times where you spend a lot of money on something and maybe you feel like it wasn't worth it. I've had the opposite experience. I've picked these up for pretty low prices and actually felt like I would pay more for it willingly. Only have 5, like I mentioned, to choose from here, so we're just keeping it really simple, really basic, but these are really solid scents here. We're actually gonna get things kicked off with a scent from Davidoff. It is one of the many cool water flankers, a few different directions you could go with this one, but for me it's always been cool water Parfum, at least in terms of what you can get right now. This is still a favorite of mine. I checked and I think it's somewhere around $35 or so, and it's I believe it's a 100 and, oh, this is just a 100 ml bottle. Sometimes they're 120s, but yeah, not a bad price at all for this. Now, in terms of cool water, cool water itself has always been cheap on discounters, usually somewhere around $20, but these flankers sometimes will be a little bit more. But I've also found that these other versions are significantly better than the original and bring a lot more to the table. Not just the Parfum, but we've also had some others like a Cool Water Wave and a Cool Water Grapefruit and Sage, just to name a couple of them that are really, really good as well. This one has vetiver, lemon, and pink pepper, so it does get away from that OG cool water smell quite a bit. Now, what is that original smell? Well, it's kind of known as that green Irish tweed smelling type of deal, right? With a bit of a different twist, of course, but it's in that green kind of fresh, watery category, as you can imagine. This one, it gets away from that smell in particular, instead focuses more on a vetiver, more on a bright lemon citrus opening, and then a little bit of a pink pepper spicy kick also. It smells really nice, very classy as well. Not that the original wasn't, but this does have, a nice refined mature smell to it, whereas something like Cool Water Wave kind of goes in the opposite direction, smells a little bit like Invictus Aqua. You could see where that one is not going to be the most mature smelling thing, but this one, it's what I would expect out of a Parfum flanker and out of what I believe to be a true Parfum. I'm not seeing any indications otherwise here. I think it is a Parfum concentrated scent officially, although I guess we could double check that. But I do enjoy this one a lot. And for the price, I think it's very, very reasonable, and I would be comfortable paying a little bit more for it. Why? Because it's a fresh summer-based scent with a bit of a twist. And also you could extend this one beyond summer because of that woody depth that it has. You could wear it in fall, you could wear it in spring, could wear it in winter, although you'd be better off choosing something else. You get the idea. It has a lot of utility for a low price, and I think it could be going for a little bit more. And by the way, I'm talking discounter prices because I'm sure the retail price of all of these is significantly more, so I'm not saying they should cost more at retail. I'm just saying for what you can pick them up for realistically on discounters where most people shop, they could go for more. Now, this next one from Azzaro, everybody, when you think of Azzaro, you think of Wanted and things like that. We're going in a completely different direction here with Azzaro Pour Homme. This is the Cologne Intense version. What an awesome looking bottle too. You've got this kind of yellow to green gradient, and I'll tell you, this is a dead giveaway right here. Really, the two main notes that you get out of this one is lavender and lime. So a very bright, sour, punchy lime opening, lemon lime combination more realistically off the top, and then it dries down to a nice smooth aromatic lavender smell with a bit of like a white musk accord in here as well. So it's bright, it's vibrant, it's fresh, it's invigorating, but at the same time has just a little bit of a soapy smell and a bit of a clean smell also. I believe the price point on this one right now is somewhere around $30, 28 to 30, I believe is what I pulled up when I looked. Now, it is an eau de toilette concentration here, and I believe, yeah, this is a 100 ml bottle, so 30 bucks, I mean, at this point, that's pretty much cheapy price. There was a point where $20 was the going cheapy rate for a lot of things, but Things have obviously progressed since then. So anything that is this good for $30 to me is nice, because that is becoming less and less common. Not only is it something that is good quality, you know, it doesn't smell cheap or synthetic really, you know, it also is something that kind of stands out also, something that's a little bit unique. You're not going to smell this on too many other people, if ever at all, which is, again, something that's kind of uncommon when you look at just where designer fragrances are going and getting sweeter and sweeter. This is something with a little bit more of a mature smell, and even still, it's Azzaro Pour Homme. It has a little bit of that barbershop type of smell roped in, kind of in the dry down as well. Azzaro Pour Homme, barbershop, aromatic fougere, there's still some of that in here, kind of helping it to lean into that mature, gentlemanly smell even more. It smells more expensive than $30. It simply does. It smells like more of a premium, high-end, gentleman's type of scent that you wouldn't be getting at a bargain bin price. So really, really good quality if you just want something against the grain to wear in this day and age. We're coming in with Tumi Awaken Distilled up next. So this one's not a whole lot more expensive than the original anymore, and I do imagine that the price on this will continue to drop a little bit more, I would think, because all of the Tumi started out at a higher price tag on discounters, and then, man, after, I don't know, a couple of years, they dropped pretty significantly, some more than others, but there has been a big correction. I don't know what they retail for, but I know on the discounters, most of these are going for around $50 on average. Some of them a little bit less. This one is about $60. So again, a little bit more than the original, but I think that will change. And honestly, I wouldn't think twice about paying extra for this, especially when you're only paying, you know, a little bit more, just a marginal amount. Because to me, you're getting a drastically better product for that amount of money difference there. I think this one is the way to go. This one has cedarwood, patchouli, amberwood, and, you know, some lavender, some orange in here as well, I believe. So what you're getting is a woody base scent with that cedar, that patchouli, just kind of a masculine, strong base, and a little bit of a modern base from that amberwood. Now, that doesn't make this a full-fledged blue fragrance by any means. In fact, it's not really a blue fragrance at all. Just we're kind of conditioned that when we see amberwood, ambroxan, some sort of variant of that, we think blue scent, right? You know, you see amberwood, you think of Eau Parfum. You see ambroxan, you think of Sauvage or Dylan Blue. That's just kind of how it is, I guess. But no, it's not in that category. But again, it does give it that modern smell. Just a little bit of that amberwood to give it some of that fresh, kind of masculine, cologne, up-to-date type of smell. I'm a big patchouli fan, and there are different ways that they can go about it. They can make that the front and center, and therefore it kind of makes it more of a, you know, like an old school, sometimes classy type of smell, you know, like a Xerjoff rich wood or something like that is an extreme example. Or sometimes they can go with more of a laid back approach, and they kind of blend that patchouli in with all of the other notes. In this instance here, that is exactly what they're doing it. They're blending it with that cedar, they're blending it with that lavender and some of that orange and that amberwood, and it fits in really nicely to give it a nice masculine edge, but not pushing it too far in any direction, not too far in a green direction or too far in even potentially a smoky direction or too far in a woody direction. I find this one to be kind of right down the middle. Again, leaning into the versatility aspect. This is something you can wear spring, fall, the better part of summer when it's not like, you know, completely miserable, which I guess some people will have that, some people won't, depending on where you are, but indoors not going to be a problem. And if you wanted to, if you really felt like it, you could wear it into winter as well. And that's kind of the other thing I was looking at for this video was that versatility. And you'll see pretty much all of these are, because they're scents that you can purchase for a marginally small amount and then get a ton of use out of. As far as this video, this is going to be the most expensive one we talk about, again at $60. But in my opinion, that is well worth $60. It's underrated, you don't hear about it, and it could go for a little bit more and still be worth a purchase. Again, talking discounter price here. This one is really, really good. All right, next one is right at $29.99 for a 100 ml tester with cap. So I made sure to look before this video here as well, and this one, it surprised me. I'll link it down below for that $30 tester price, because on some other websites it's going for $50, $55, right? Which is still, you know, I wouldn't think twice about paying that, but you know, why when you can get it for $20 less, right? It is Ferragamo Bright Leather. This one has white leather, rosemary, and musk, and I'll tell you, violet leaf out the wazoo. I don't know even if they listed that off, I can't remember, but if they don't, I mean, it's there, and if they did list it off, it's very obvious. Like, you cannot get around the fact that there is a violet leaf smell. You can just take the cap off of this in one whiff, and it is immediate. It is right there. This kind of, I always describe violet leaf as like this purple / green type of smell, which you're thinking, what does that smell like? Well, green kind of is self-explanatory, a little bit of like a grassy, outdoorsy type of smell, kind of watery even is how it comes across sometimes. And then purple, just, I don't know, when I think of like I don't know, the color, and I think of violet leaf, I just think of purple. I have no better explanation than that, but that's kind of how I describe it. Just think of a watery kind of green type of smell, and that's violet leaf. And again, once you've smelled it, you will be able to pick it out in anything because it is very distinct. Sometimes other notes can have a tendency to blend in, even something like a bergamot or, you know, a grapefruit or something. If it's blended in, sometimes it can be hard to discern, you know, exactly what it is. Violet leaf, I've never had that. If it's there, even a little bit, you'll pick up on it. And again, that's what we have here. And the leather, okay, they listed off a white leather, so kind of more of a suede type of leather. Essentially, it's a fresh, smooth, and light leather accord, more in line with like a Tom Ford ombre leather. Okay, this does smell somewhat similar, not exact, not a clone. There are clones of that. This is not really quite it, but definitely in that ballpark where it's wearable, it's versatile, it's not animalic, it's not too rugged or anything crazy like that. It's not going to be offensive to anybody, really. And I think for what it's worth, if you want kind of a unique designer, again, something that's a little bit of a change of pace, a little bit different, Ferragamo Bright Leather is the way to go. Not to mention, for people who are interested, these bottles are kind of cool. You know, they're not overly complex, and the lighting here is completely making it hard to see on the front, but you can see where it says Ferragamo right there. It has kind of this leather texture. It's not going to be real leather, of course, but just nice little details, nice classy looking presentation. For $30, again, essentially a cheapy price, this is kind of a no-brainer to me. We're going to finish things off with a Perry Ellis of all brands. You don't hear about him. You know, this one is around $20 to $22 for a 100 ml. Yes, sometimes they trick you and go a little bit more. It's Perry Ellis Aqua Extreme. Nice deep blue bottle. You could kind of imagine what direction this one goes in. Lavender, geranium, juniper, and tobacco. Okay, that's interesting. The tobacco to me is more or less kind of a head scratcher. I don't really get much of that at all, but I said it because they listed off and I wanted to address it, right? Because I didn't want people to think, is there any tobacco in this? And you know, me not mention it. Again, I think that one's a little bit of a stretch. This is, it's primarily a blue-based scent with more of an aromatic focus. It has, the way I'm going to describe it is a little bit of Dylan Blue, but fresher. Because Dylan Blue, if you've smelled it, it's sweet and it's smoky. You get patchouli and incense along with the ambroxan and the C notes and the grapefruit, I believe, maybe bergamot, one or the other or both. But it's, again, you can smell it and you'll see what I mean. But this does have a little bit of that Dylan Blue kind of soapiness and out of the shower smell. We're just missing the incense. We're missing the patchouli. We're missing that sweeter, heavier part to the extent that Dylan Blue has. So it's kind of a fresher take on that, still with its own twist also. This is the type of thing that you cannot mess up. I mean, this is a foolproof scent. You grab it, you spray it on, and you're set for any situation, any time of the year. It really does not matter. Now, are there going to be better options for certain things? Yes, that's always going to be the case. When we're talking versatile, everyday wear scents, they're kind of like the jack of all trades, master of none. They're going to work for everything, but there are better options for certain specialized events. So I would say really formal situations, there's going to be something better, right? That's about the only thing. Other than that, just normal day-to-day wear, casual use, this $20 scent is absolutely incredible for that. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some underrated and underpriced designer fragrances that I think are worth checking out. I'm going to drop links to these down below because after all, you know, you got to shop through discounters to get the prices I've been talking about. So I'll link them right where I pulled those prices from. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.